Denise. Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. It's Denise. Denise. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party. It's a podcast party.
I gotta say, I feel like we're besties now after this. What's up, guys? It's Denise Salcedo. Hey there, everyone. It's Denise. Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is Friday night, and we are here to talk about the January 28th edition of WWE SmackDown, the go-home show into the Royal Rumble, which is taking place tomorrow night, and also AEW Rampage, which featured a couple of pretty decent matches here tonight. So we got plenty to talk about here today. Before we get started, just a friendly reminder to everybody who is on the show, thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, make sure to take part in this chat. If you guys want to get your comments, questions, or statements read on the air, the way to make sure that you get your comments read on here 100% guaranteed is by sending in a super chat. If you do send in a super chat at any point throughout this show, I will make sure to go ahead and read your comments. Now, I should warn you, everybody, I am running on what you call, I think, like 3 hours of sleep, everyone. I had terrible insomnia last night, and I was up from like 2:30 a.m. all the way until like 8 a.m. and I got like an extra like couple of hours of sleep, and now I'm like kind of like feeling it right now. And tomorrow I got to wake up early and fly to Texas. I'm going to be going to Houston, Texas, because I'm doing commentary for Mission Pro Wrestling. And then right after that, I'm planning on not sleeping tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is going to be a no sleep night because I need to watch the Royal Rumble. So I won't be watching the Rumble live, but I will be watching it as soon as I'm done doing commentary for Mission Pro Wrestling. I will be watching the Rumble, and then the following day, I will be flying back out to Los Angeles. I will be in Los Angeles at some point in the morning on Sunday, and then I'll do my post show, my Royal Rumble post show over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. So it is kind of a hectic weekend coming up right now, guys. It's going to be nuts, but we're going to go ahead and get into everything that went down here tonight. I'm going to kick things off with Friday Night SmackDown, considering that it is the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. We got a big surprise. Somebody that a lot of people really like is back today, and we're going to be talking about that right now. Let's get into it, everybody. Let's kick things off with the Charlotte Flair promo that opened up Friday Night SmackDown. So we have Charlotte coming out, and I know a lot of people don't like Charlotte, but damn, you guys already know that I am a big Charlotte Flair fan. I really love her flair. I really love how she comes in here and is just such a heel, man, and she can get those reactions from people. Immediately when she kicked off her promo today, right off the bat, I just thought of Britt Baker, though, because she started talking about like teams and, you know, all of this. And I was like, oh, no. I don't want to do this again. We already went through that whole thing with the Britt Baker promo. I was like, kind of a little bit nervous that that's what we were going to get for this promo, but it ended up being like pretty okay. I actually really liked what Charlotte Flair had to say. Charlotte basically said she was entering herself in the Rumble, that she could have easily cruised on by, that she didn't have to enter herself into the Royal Rumble, but she's not the kind of champion that just sits there and waits for a challenger, but she actually wants to, you know, get things under her control. So I liked that. I think that that's a good thing in a champion. So for me, I kind of found myself rooting for Charlotte Flair during this. But anyways, immediately after, we get Shayna Baszler, who apparently came out with a brand new theme song. She comes out. Shayna Baszler comes out. We see Aaliyah coming out. She is doing the whole, she got that win over Natalya in 3.17 seconds. So now she's Aaliyah 317, ripoff of Austin 316. So there you go. We got Aaliyah coming out. Then we got Natty. And then we got Shotzi. And they're all pretty much going off about how they're going to win the Rumble, etc. And Charlotte Flair who's the champion, is literally standing there. She's like, man, screw you guys. Like, you really think you're like on the same level? Like, none of you are on the same level as me. And instantly, the second she said that, I knew that somebody was going to come out. I expected it. I saw it coming. But I had missed the earlier report that Sean posted on Fightful Select about Sasha Banks. I had missed it. So when I sensed that somebody was coming out, I had no idea that it was going to be Sasha Banks. So when Sasha Banks came out, I was like, oh shit, hell yeah. Like I just did a Royal Rumble predictions, a video, and Sasha Banks was really not on my radar in terms of coming back during the Rumble, because we all know she was out. She was out as of January 2nd, okay? January 2nd, she got hurt. She had an injury while facing Charlotte Flair at a house show, and she was supposed to be out 6 to 8 weeks, and 6 to 8 weeks have definitely not gone by, and we got the return of Sasha Banks. So for me, I kind of felt pretty excited, like, okay, that Sasha Banks is here. But instantly, the second that this was announced, Sasha Banks basically says that she's ready to Rumble. She doesn't necessarily say she's declaring herself into the Rumble, but it was pretty much a given when she said, I'm ready to Rumble, and then all the girls brawled. So it's pretty much a given that Sasha Banks is going to be part of the Women's Rumble. And instantly when I posted that, hey, Sasha Banks is here, she's officially returned, a lot of people were like excited that she was there, but a lot of people were also kind of upset that the surprise had been spoiled. I think a lot of people, given that we kind of know like a huge percentage of the women that are going to be in the Rumble, people kind of wanted to get a few more of those surprises. And it kind of feels like, I'm pretty sure we're still going to be getting a couple of surprises, one of which the big theory is that we're possibly going to be seeing Ronda Rousey. Other theories that have been thrown around are Asuka and those people. So we're still bound to get some surprises, but I saw a lot of people basically kind of wishing that Sasha Banks would have been a surprise during the Women's Rumble instead of coming out here tonight on SmackDown. And I gotta say, I kind of agree with that. I think given the fact that we already know Mickie James is going to be in there, we know the Bellas are going to be in there, and Lita and all these other people, I feel like that's enough for everyone to be excited and looking forward to the Rumble, that we didn't necessarily need Sasha Banks to come out today and essentially have that moment spoiled when she could have came out at the Royal Rumble and, gotten that huge, that extra huge pop that she would have gotten had she been a surprise person there. But let's go ahead and get some thoughts in here, guys. Do you think that are you guys happy that Sasha Banks essentially came out here today, or would you have preferred for her to actually come out until tomorrow during the Rumble? Let's get some comments. Let's see what people are saying in regards to this. We got Purple pretty much putting over, obviously, the fact that they're happy that Sasha Banks is back. Let's see what we got here. This one is from, let's go through a couple more and get some people's thoughts on Sasha Banks here. And we got people wondering if it's going to be Bayley coming back, Asuka coming back. A couple of people thinking, of course, Ronda Rousey is a name that's being thrown out there. This one's from Matt Hensley, who says, I didn't even realize that Sasha wasn't on TV or know that she was injured, but it's nice to see her back. Yeah, so she was gone, again, like I mentioned, at the top of this month. So she wasn't necessarily expected to make it back by the Rumble, but there she is. And I'm excited that she is going to be part of this. We got a comment from Kyle Rochelle, who says, I'm a big fan of Sasha, so I'm glad she's back. Royal Rumble winner for tomorrow. Dude, I feel like with both the men's and the women's Rumble, like I don't have like a for sure, hey, this is the person that it's going to be. Right now, I'm still thinking that, hey, if it's Ronda Rousey, if she does come out, I do think that she'd be the winner of this. If she doesn't, I'm going for Bianca Belair. However, I know a lot of people are going for Naomi, and especially considering her whole storyline with Sonya Deville, a lot of people think that it's also going to be Naomi winning. So who knows what's going to happen, everybody. We'll see. All right, let's go ahead and continue, everybody, and let's get into, I'm going to highlight a little bit of everything else that happened on the show, because this SmackDown was a vast improvement on the last 2 to 3 weeks. On the last 2 to 3 weeks, I haven't really been feeling like SmackDown has been that great. I believe it was last week where I was literally able to recap all of SmackDown in like 10 minutes, which is not really a good thing, to be honest. When I'm doing the show, I want to do 30 minutes for each show. But given the fact that there was really nothing that actually went down on SmackDown last week, it kind of bummed me out. But given that this was the go home show for the Royal Rumble, I was expecting it to be, a better show. And it definitely was a better show. So thank goodness for that. I was very happy about that. Let's see. This one's from Cadillac Carson, who says, good for SmackDown. Nowhere to go but up after the last few weeks. 100%. Agree with that on there. All right, let's go ahead and get into this awesome match that we had here. We had a really good tag team match that I was such a fan of, and this was Cesaro and Ricochet teaming up together to take on Sheamus and Ridge Holland. So this was a lot of fun. And the reason why this was fun was because we kind of saw, first of all, Cesaro literally going like crazy on Sheamus and hitting him with all of these uppercuts that you all know that Cesaro does so very well. One of which he even did a corkscrew uppercut, which looked really great on Sheamus. We already know the history between Cesaro and Sheamus, and they tend to have these aggressive bangers. And so I thought that their interactions during this match were really good. On top of that, you add the element of Ricochet. Ricochet went in there and he was, he was the Ricochet that we know and love, going out there doing all of these different high spots and whatnot. So add that on top of the element of this aggression between Cesaro and Sheamus. It made for an entertaining match. Another element that I liked about this is Ridge Holland. So Ridge Holland is one of the newer faces on SmackDown. He was one of the ones that got called up during the WWE draft, but things haven't necessarily been like, oh, so hot for him. He's been paired up with Sheamus, which has been like, okay, but truthfully, I know that right off the bat, I kind of preferred for him to be more of a loner. I didn't really want to see Ridge Holland and Sheamus sort of get aligned together, but that's where we're at. And so we all know that Ridge Holland kind of got hurt during a match and the whole nose thing. They showed the whole replay and all of that. So he comes out with the guard mask on his face. And throughout this, it was kind of bothering me seeing him with the guard mask on his face because he literally was kind of like adjusting it throughout the match because it kept like sliding down. So you can tell that he wasn't necessarily crazy about having to wear it during this match. But for the finish, he ended up using it for the finish. He used that to essentially headbutt Cesaro. Ridge Holland headbutts Cesaro with it, gets the win, and I really think that the right guys won here because I think that Ridge Holland has a phenomenal look, and he is definitely somebody that if they build him up good enough, down the line, he could seriously be a challenger for the championship belt. So I do want to go ahead and say that it was the right call to have Sheamus and Ridge Holland get the win in this match. Very fun tag team match. I was a fan of it. A very huge fan of it here. All right, let's go ahead and let's see if we got any thoughts on this one here. Any comments on this match? I'm trying to see if I get any. I have like this horrible reflection, everybody. So I have like 3 ring lights, and for some reason, my ring light is like embedded in my eyeball. So I'm trying to read the comments. I'm seeing how my vision's all messed up. It's like half of the light and then half the screen. So pardon me on that. All right, let's go ahead and continue on, everybody. So after this, we got the really awesome Royal Rumble numbers video, which was always, really enjoyable to see. But moving on, here's like kind of the interesting thing that we had happen on Friday Night SmackDown. And I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this one because we finally, after what feels like 40,000 years, we finally got Naomi versus Sonya Deville. So this has been a feud that has been brewing since, I believe, August now. And it has been like, it started off like interesting, right? To some people. To me, it didn't, because instantly I kind of felt like it was the leftovers of the Sonya Deville Liv Morgan feud that they were doing before the Sonya Deville Naomi feud. And so for me, I was kind of like, man, this is just leftovers of what was going on with Sonya and Liv Morgan, right? Okay, cool. So now, we're seeing Naomi and Sonya Deville kind of do this whole story, and it just kind of like, I started to change my mind about it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to get interested in it. I'm going to give it a chance. But then all of these months kept going by, and we just kind of kept seeing nothing. And they did all of these things where Sonya Deville is screwing Naomi. Naomi's like, why don't you like me? Sonya Deville never gives us an actual reason why. She finally gives a reason, I think like 2 weeks ago or something, where she says that she doesn't like Naomi because Naomi walks into the room acting like she's a main character when she's an extra. And I'm thinking, really? That's the reason why? And even then, it's not, people aren't treating it like the official reason. So I still don't think we have like an official reason, but whatever. So we finally got this match. And ahead of this, I'm thinking, all right, there's going to be some sort of swerve. They're not actually going to give us this match. And I was expecting something to happen that, would essentially turn out for it not to be a match, because we had, so the last time they did that handicap match with Sonya Deville and with Shayna Baszler on Naomi. So I was kind of expecting a swerve like that. But no, we ended up seeing this match. Sonya Deville came out in this really, really nice gear. She's wearing the black leather. She's looking really sexy, really edgy. Really love this look, by the way. So if by any chance Sonya Deville is listening to this post show, love the gear, love the cutouts. Really phenomenal. So this is her first singles match since that last match that she had with the Loser Leaves WWE, back in SummerSlam when she wrestled Mandy Rose. So it has been a very long time, since 2020, the summer of 2020, SummerSlam, since we've seen Sonya Deville wrestle one-on-one. So this was huge. The match itself, it started to build up as it went, as it like continued on. The one issue that I really had with this match, though, is that given all the BS that Sonya Deville has given Naomi, I was kind of upset at Naomi. Like, she didn't really seem that mad to me throughout this match. I'm watching this and I'm thinking, like, dude, she put you through hell and back, and I kind of felt like she was not necessarily acting as though she was like really upset. I thought that Naomi should have been more mad, more angry during this match. Like, she finally gets to have her hands on Sonya Deville. This is it. This is the moment that she's been waiting for. I didn't feel we had that during this match. So that was like my one big critique in this. But regardless of that, we had some good moments during this. Obviously, Naomi had a really nice crossbody off the top rope during this. We see Deville, Sonya, she hit this really nice, like, inverted DDT. I don't even know. Naomi hits this really nice full Nelson. She gets a near fall during this. And there's a moment where Sonya Deville is trying to cheat. So she rakes the eyes of Naomi. And I'm thinking, all right, this is it. Like, this is where it's going to end. Naomi's going to get screwed by getting her eyes raked, and this is going to cost her the match. And this is where I thought things were going to end, but they didn't. They continued on, and finally we see Naomi hit her rear view. Then afterwards, she does a split-legged moonsault, and she gets the pin 1, 2, 3, and she has her whole celebration. Commentary is putting over the fact that, she's having her big, happy ending, and I'm thinking, wow, we actually finally got a legitimate payoff to this feud. I don't know why it took so long. Like, we did not need this to start in August for it to culminate at the end of January for us to finally get a match. And I started thinking, like, really? They did all that just for that? Like, what the hell? So anyways, whatever. So Naomi gets her win. She has this really great line where she tells Sonya Deville, don't slip on your tears on the way out. Loved that. But Sonya Deville is basically like pissed off. She comes back. She's not going to, leave with her hands tied behind her back. She comes back and she basically says, you know what? Like, I'm an official, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to enter myself into the Royal Rumble. So now we know that she's essentially entering it just to keep Naomi from winning. And this kind of makes me wonder, does this improve the chances of Naomi actually winning? Because if they I don't think Naomi's going to win the Royal Rumble. Like, let me just say that. But there are a lot of people that obviously want her to, and it would be a really nice thing, but I don't actually think it's going to happen. But regardless, I started to think, what if they're trying to throw us off by saying, okay, Sonya Deville is going to be in this Rumble. She's going to be in this Rumble, and her sole purpose of being in this Rumble is to keep Naomi from winning. So, does that improve the chances of Naomi, or does that just basically tell us that she's going to get eliminated, or Naomi's going to eliminate her? One of them is going to eliminate one of them in the Rumble, and that's it. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see what we got here, guys. If you have any thoughts on this Sonya Naomi feud and us finally getting this match, let's go ahead and get what people are saying here. This one is from Cadillac, who says, I presume Sonya eliminates Naomi to get more heat because we don't have enough of it. I really don't. I think, oh God. Edwin Pacino says, Sonya and Mandy stare down at the Rumble. I just feel this has gone on way too long to where I'm fine. I'm so fine with them ending it right here. I'm fine with it. Like, that's good. She got her win. We can move on from this now. Like, I'm okay with that. This is a comment from the Centrovert, who says, if Naomi didn't act like she was full of rage, then someone is not teaching these wrestlers the finer points of working, says the Centrovert. This is a comment from Matt Thomas, who says, I feel like this match isn't the end and have a suspicion Sonya will win the overall feud. It's just, it's been too long already. Ed Pump says, I'm over this completely, have been for months. Jesus, it's got to end. Somehow, because look, if they continue this at the Royal Rumble, and let's say Sonya Deville eliminates Naomi from the Royal Rumble, that just tells me that is going to continue, that we're going to continue seeing this. If Naomi eliminates Sonya Deville, I'll be like, all right, that's it. She pinned her on SmackDown. She eliminated her at the Royal Rumble. We're done. But again, we'll find out. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go ahead and continue on, everybody. Just a friendly reminder, if you want to make sure your question, comment, or statement gets read on the stream, you are more than welcome to send in a super chat. Also, F4W Online allows me to keep 100% of all proceeds from super chats. All right, let's get into, we got an insane segment with Shanky and Jinder Mahal. Sorry, everybody. So my notes app changed Shanky to Swanky, and for a second, I almost read Swanky. So Swanky, Shanky and Jinder Mahal are the guest of Sami Zayn during this insane segment. And what we've been getting the past couple of weeks on SmackDown is that the insane segment is essentially Sami Zayn doing something insane, right? Well, now he says, I almost ended up in the hospital, so I had to repackage, rebrand Insane. And guess what? It is now a live podcast. So he's supposed to be interviewing Jinder Mahal, but instead of, letting Jinder Mahal really talk, he kind of, steps in the way and kind of keeps talking himself. So Jinder Mahal and Shanky are kind of just like there. And at some point, they end up arguing about whether or not Johnny Knoxville is a hit in India or not. And I'm thinking, oh my God, we're still talking about Johnny Knoxville. I got zero interest, guys, in this Johnny Knoxville stuff. Like, I could care less. I could care less about this. Man, like, I was a fan of Jackass back in the day. Cool. But I just don't care today. Today, I don't care. In 2022, I just don't care. But anyways, that was it, everybody. This was not necessarily like anything. Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind, everybody. This led into a match. Jesus Christ, that's how much I cared that I completely forgot it turned into a match after this. We got Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs taking on Swanky and Jinder and Sami Zayn in commentary. The only thing of note during this match is that Rick Boogs is hella strong. He had a really nice vertical suplex on Shanky, who is not a small guy by any means. And he wins the match with the Boogs Cruise. Not the Blues Clues, the Boogs Cruise. Was it good stuff? Good showcase for Rick Boogs. Let's see what we got here, guys. Any thoughts? Anybody? Sam finds us Slanky. God, Swanky, Shanky. I'm running out here, guys. I'm running out. We got Tony saying Veer is coming to Raw, not the Royal Rumble. I mean, they've just been saying he's coming, right? We all just assumed Raw. Maybe they just meant the Royal Rumble. Can you imagine if he doesn't come out at the Royal Rumble? Like, seriously, think about that for a second. Antoine says, Slinky reminds me of Slinky from Toy Story. You know what? Did I say Shankly? Did I mess up his name? Shanky. Oh, God. Anyways, Shanky, he was funny today. He had a funny line. That was it. Sam says that I called him Slanky. Oh, God. All right, we're moving on from this. We also had Big E and Kofi Kingston take on Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin. Big E and Kofi get the win, and I'm sorry, guys, but I completely tune out whenever we got Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin. Moving on, we are going to be talking about our last segment on SmackDown, and then I will be moving on over to AEW Rampage. But before I do, friendly reminder, everybody, as you all know, next week I will be back here on F4W Online, as always. On Tuesday, I will be here to talk about NXT 2.0. We never know what to expect from that show. On Wednesday, I will be here to talk about AEW Dynamite. Pretty interesting show each and every single week. People like to come in and talk about it. And then Friday, I will be back once again to do SmackDown and Rampage. But now let's go ahead and get into this main event segment on SmackDown. This was Roman Reigns and Seth freaking Rollins. Seth Rollins coming in his Joker tuxedo, looking pretty fly, Seth Rollins. But Roman basically tells, Seth, you're living in the past, dude. Afterwards, Seth starts talking about like all of these pivotal moments in their career. He talks about the time that he hit him with the chair. They kind of go off about that. And Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins could not be two totally different people than they were before and where they are now. It is insane. But anyways, we kind of get Seth telling Roman Reigns, like, quote, "My brother, I will always love you." And Roman Reigns is like, "I'm never going to forgive you for what you did to us. I hate you." And Seth Rollins is kind of thriving in that hate that Roman Reigns feels from him. So this was pretty good. Seth Rollins then continues on and starts bearing Roman Reigns by telling him that everything about him, everything about his family, and everything that he has done has been a complete and utter joke. And he's doing, the Joker dance and he's doing the Joker dance and also kind of Jack Sparrow from the Pirates of the Caribbean. So that's what Seth Rollins is doing, and Roman Reigns finally gets super fed up and literally just shoves them. So I liked this. I thought that this was a really nice way to kind of, given that we're going into this big match at the Royal Rumble and that this was a match that was really just thrown together within the last 3 weeks. I'm glad that they did this segment just to kind of, really kind of hash out and talk about some of the history between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, because we obviously know that they've had it. Alrighty, everybody, let's get some final thoughts on this, and then I'm going to go ahead and jump into AEW Rampage, and let's see what we got here. This is a question from Ashish Shind, who says, So it's babyface turn for Roman because Seth was heel in this feud. To me, I see them both as heels. To be honest. I get that, obviously Seth Rollins is doing more of, again, he's doing more of this Joker inspired type of persona, and he's laughing and all of this, and he is coming off across as the bigger jerk in this. in comparison, he's like the bigger jerk, but Roman Reigns is still like this. Roman Reigns is still the Roman Reigns that we've been seeing. That's like the best way that I can kind of put this. So to me, it is like a heel versus heel, but obviously two different types of heels for sure. We got a comment from Lenny Banner who says Seth was outstanding and has been throughout this. I think this reminded folks that Seth's been a top-notch talent for a while now. If this is the end for Roman, it's kind of fitting. It's Seth who ends it. No, oh my God. See, this is okay. I need to go on a little bit on tangent here. And this is Lenny. So I completely agree with you in the fact that Seth is this great talent and blah, 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 right? But no, I do not want to see Seth Rollins defeat Roman Reigns. Nope. I'm sorry. No. If this was a story that was literally not a story. This was a program for this particular match that literally started out of nowhere. Like, again, the history is there. We can't deny that. We already know that. But it was just kind of like, one day Adam Pearce is on SmackDown and he's like, oh, I got an opponent for you. And then all of a sudden at the closing, it's Seth Rollins just coming in and laughing in Roman Reigns' face. All right, cool, right? But Roman Reigns, and this is probably, my fault too. Like, personally speaking, my fault, because every time I keep thinking, like, who do I want to see beat Roman Reigns? Like, who do I want? I kept thinking to myself, like, the right person to beat Roman Reigns is not here yet. We don't know this person. I can't think of the right person to beat Roman Reigns, right? So in my mind, I feel like I've built up this imaginary person that doesn't exist to eventually come across and like defeat Roman Reigns, right? So I think that I have been so adamant that that's what's going to happen, because the way that I see it is like, whoever defeats Roman Reigns has to literally get like, it has to be somebody that it has to be somebody that, is going to become a star out of this. Seth Rollins is already a star. He doesn't need to beat Roman Reigns, in my opinion, during this. So, like, I don't want to see everything that we've seen for Roman Reigns, essentially everything that he's been doing, everything that he's built as the tribal chief, essentially get taken away during this match. Like, if maybe even they would have, no, I don't want to see it. I don't. Like, I feel like I've been, oh God, I'm acting like I'm the one who's, booking this, but I just feel like personally, I've been so protective of this Roman Reigns character that I just don't want to see him lose to Seth Rollins. And I feel like a lot of people have been talking about it, and I'm starting to wonder, like, are people manifesting this? Because a lot of people have been saying that they think Seth Rollins is going to defeat Roman Reigns here. And I'm just like, shit, stop putting it out there. I don't want to see Roman Reigns lose. I don't want to see it. I'm sorry. I'm not ready yet, okay? I'm not ready. Let's get some comments in here, everybody. But then again, Cherry Lax says, I never agree with Denise, but she's right. So here's the thing too. And this is the other thing that gets me thinking is, like, we know that the Usos, they're banned from ringside, right? And I'm like, there's been so much criticism that Roman Reigns only wins these matches because he gets help from the Usos, right? And I'm thinking either they're going to prove that he can only win with the help of the Usos, or B, they're going to prove that he doesn't need the help of the Usos. So this could go either way, everybody. Let's see what else we got here, everybody. This one's from M. Durrett, who says they have no one even close to being built up enough to get the superstar bump by beating Roman. Exactly. They don't. They really don't. And this is just the God honest truth. Like, I would like there to be someone down the line. Is there somebody right now? No. So that's how I feel about that. Let's see what we get here. Let's go through a couple more. This one's from Lord Pelagius, who says, the guy who beats Roman for me, it's going to be Braun Breaker, Von Wagner, or Gable Steveson. Agreed completely on it not being Rollins. So Braun Breaker, like, out of these three options, I think that Braun Breaker would probably be my favorite. Gable Steveson, I still obviously have to see, like, we have to see, what he brings to the table, right? Like, what he brings to the table. Von Wagner, I know that, like, I've heard that people, like, are, like, that Vince likes him. We have read the reports that Vince is a fan of Von Wagner. Based on what I've seen from NXT Von Wagner and what I've seen from Von Wagner on the show, I hope not. I mean, he could change my mind right down the line, but as of right now, in this point in time, I would say out of these three names, I would go with Braun Breaker, then Gable Steveson, then Von Wagner out of these three names here. But there you guys go. Let's see. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on, everybody, and just kind of get going over here. All right, let's go ahead and get into it's time, everybody. Let's get into AEW Rampage. We've got a couple of cool things to talk about. I think there was a few stuff that I liked, and then everything else was just kind of there. I wouldn't say that this was like a very this wasn't a very entertaining Rampage. It was like an okay show, but nothing so much where I'm like, oh my God, this happens, this rocked. It was just a show out of all the other AEW Rampages that I watched. All right, so let's get into it, because we did open up with a really good match, I would say. And this was Jon Moxley versus Anthony Bowens. And immediately, right off the bat, I want to put over Anthony Bowens here. And the reason why I want to put over Anthony Bowens is that he has been somebody that I think in the last couple of, singles matches that we've seen him in, he's had singles matches with Darby Allin, Bryan Danielson, Jungle Boy. Those have been pretty entertaining. Granted, he's taking all of these losses, right? But to me, it almost feels like Anthony Bowens is sort of a really good person to have in the spot. Because even though he's taking these losses, look at the names of the people he's taking losses to. You got Jon Moxley, Darby, Jungle Boy, Bryan Danielson. Those are people that are obviously, levels above where Anthony Bowens is at. But the reason why I like Anthony Bowens in this particular position is because he goes in there, and at least every match that I recall, I feel like he's been improving, and he's the kind of opponent that you definitely, I feel, take seriously in these matches, especially when I saw him, going at it tonight with Jon Moxley. Like, I had already been a fan of Anthony Bowens, but it kind of hit me more tonight because there was just so much that he did, so many little things that he did that I'm like, he's in the ring with Jon Moxley. Like, Jon Moxley is like a legit, badass. It's somebody that is so, so established. People take him really seriously and all of that. But look at Anthony Bowens. He is literally going toe-to-toe with Jon Moxley. And it's not to the point where, like, I feel like I have to suspend my disbelief in the sense that I can't buy Anthony Bowens going up against Jon Moxley in that way. I could totally buy it. And I feel like given the stuff that I've seen before of him prior in his singles matches, it really added to the credibility that I thought he brought during this Jon Moxley match. So for me, I kind of felt like I had to make note of that and put over Anthony Bowens during this. Let's see. Let's talk about some good moments. First of all, I do want to take note of the lines from Max Caster during his opening rap, where he basically says, if you guys remember, Max Caster had this really funny line where he says that it was a couple weeks ago or months ago now, where he basically said that Renee Paquette, was hitting him up in his DMs for oral sessions, right? And that was like this big, banger of a line, and everybody was like, oh, burn, and all of that, right? So he kind of follows up on that here today, and he basically says, like, Renee still hasn't called him back, something like that. That was really funny. And then he kind of pokes fun at Jon Moxley's book and says, Anthony Bowens is going to put you to sleep the way that your book puts people to sleep. Really good. Those are my favorite lines from tonight. But for the actual match, they do instantly, Jon Moxley goes right in there, gets Anthony Bowens to the suplex, starts really, putting on the attack on him. They end up brawling on the outside for quite a bit. Finally, we get back in the ring. We see a nice neck breaker from Anthony Bowens. We see some really good stuff there. We see Jon Moxley take out Max Caster with a dive on the outside. We see Bowens try to cheat with a chain, but Moxley puts a stop to it. After this, we see Moxley hit a lariat, and then then he hits the paradigm shift and he gets the win. So this was a very simple but solid, effective match, I think. And good enough to make, I think it made Anthony Bowens look good during this. Like, I feel like I just take him a little bit more seriously. But also, right after this, we had Bryan Danielson backstage, and he is watching the match. But this was hilarious because I don't know what was going on, but whoever shot that did like this very different angle, or I don't know if it was the way Bryan Danielson was standing or the way that the camera angle was, but it looked really hilarious, and it made Bryan Danielson look like, because he has the monitor literally to the side of him, and it kind of makes him look like those commercials where they're promoting a product. And I literally, as I was watching this, I kept thinking to myself, 4 out of 5 doctors recommend blah, 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 blah. That is exactly what that whole angle reminded me of. But anyways, obviously they're still teasing Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley. And Jon Moxley, since his return, has just been, picking up those wins once again, getting the ball rolling until we eventually, make our way to Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, which they've already teased twice now. So we know it's definitely bound to happen. So thoughts, everybody? How did you feel about Jon Moxley, Anthony Bowens? How did you guys feel about the direction in which they're heading with Jon Moxley and Bryan Danielson? Let's get some thoughts in this, everybody. We got people putting over, this one's from Danny Boy, who says, Rampage is a quick, compact, entertaining wrestling show. Mindless fun, but get straight to the point. Yeah, I feel like Rampage has a little bit more of a formula, whereas Dynamite, you don't really know what to expect. Like, Dynamite moves really fast. Like, you're like, match, promo, vignette, promo, backstage brawl, melee in the ring, all of this like stop, right? Like non-stop. Like, you cannot leave the room because you will miss something. You better hit the pause button. With Rampage, it's more of, I kind of feel like we got the formula down for Rampage now. If you're watching Rampage, you kind of know what to expect. You got your opening match. Right after that, you get like a vignette, and then they promote one of their matches, and the other match comes on. We all know that right before the main event, they do the whole Mark Henry split screen interview stuff. So you kind of know what more to expect from the show, versus Dynamite still has that very, anything can happen on tonight's show, etc. So those are really what feels very different when you're watching Dynamite and when you're watching Rampage. Like, Rampage to me is more exciting, I think, depending on the stories that they're telling, obviously the matches that they have on the show, but there are certain episodes that I think can kind of that really do take a back seat. And I'm not necessarily always wild about those episodes. And I think that that was today. Like, today's Rampage was not it's going to be easily forgettable, is what I'm trying to get at here. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get some comments and see what we got here. And let's see. This is a comment from Stellar Justin Lopez, who says, Rampage is something I'll watch in the morning while having coffee. Hey, have your coffee, man. Have your coffee, have your bagel with Rampage. I think it'll be a good little breakfast there. Kind of agree with all of that. And this is a comment from Killer Mike 375, who says, Anthony Bowens is hella underrated, but this is the perfect role for him. He's getting some big matches and has delivered every time. Yeah, he's definitely a guy that I don't necessarily think a lot of people expected to really be put in these types of matches, but he's been there. And he's been delivering. He's been getting the job done. It's been entertaining. I like it. Thumbs up on all of that. And alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on from here. And let's get into it's now time to talk about Stink. All right. God bless Andrade. I love Andrade. And this is hilarious to me, by the way. I don't. Okay, so Andrade and his assistants, they go knocking on Sting's locker room door, and you go right in there, and Darby is essentially sitting there in a chair, just by himself in the corner, looking like he's grounded. And the story that they've been telling here is that Andrade believes that Darby Allin is working for Sting and that he wants the little kid. He just keeps saying he wants the little kid. From the sounds of it, he wants to purchase the little kid or kidnap the little kid. I don't even know anymore. But the little kid that he's talking about is Darby Allin. And this is hilarious because Andrade walks in and he's basically like, he's excited to see the kid, etc. And Darby is just like laughing at him. He's just laughing at him. He's like, dude, I cannot believe that you think that's I work for Sting. And Andrade's kind of like not really listening to that. And he's like, you know what? Like, just tell me, when Sting is going to be here so that we can, have a conversation, etc. And he just basically tells him, look, I need to talk to your boss. And that's about it. So clearly, Andrade is still not understanding what Darby's saying. And Darby's just like, this guy's freaking crazy. So I'm interested to see where this is going because this is going to have to go somewhere with this because this is funny as hell. Let me just say that. It's funny as hell, especially because Andrade keeps calling Sting stink. It's great stuff, man. It's great stuff. We got a super chat from Killer Mike 375 who says, El stink. I feel so bad. I feel so bad for Andrade, but I don't blame, I might have said this story last week, but I'll say it again. I have been guilty of sometimes when I talk really fast, it'll sound like I say stink as well. And for the longest time, I kept practicing and I would say sting and really emphasize the in there. And so plus Andrade's Hart, he needs to go through and do the same thing. Practice hitting the But now it's funny though. Like, it's funny. Keep calling him stink. It's great. Sam Fine says stink was wrong. Jesus Christ. Alrighty, everybody. Let's go ahead and let's read this comment from Pile Driver Finisher who says, love Andrade's accent. Most don't get big money, Matt, but he's a businessman like Andrade. Also can't wait to see the Acclaim to burn him on buying kids. This is so sad. Oh my God. They got Andrade. One of the most highlighted Latinos is out there trying to buy kids. Dead. All right. Let's go ahead and move on from this. Where do we go from this, everybody? We just got people saying funny comments here. We got Killer Mike saying, I low-key feel bad, but we love him keeping it up. Centrovert says Andrade versus Darby or Sting. Andrade needs to wrestle more on TV. I guess they're just trying to build an angle for him to do. Yeah, because anytime Andrade, all the bangers that he had with Pac were phenomenal, right? They were phenomenal. Tony says, when is Andrade gonna buy Jeff Hardy? My God. Oh my God. I feel like there's a lot of people that Andrade could buy, especially if he's going for like the kid look. Like you can line people up. You got Dante Martin, Lee Johnson, Daniel Garcia, still a kid. Hell, he can try to buy Hook. Although Hook's starting to develop. He's becoming a man now. I'm trying to think who else looks like a kid on the roster. Well, there's quite a few. So Andrade's going to have to start. Andrade has his pick of the litter. All right, let's go ahead and move on from here. All right, where are we going with this? We got FTR versus Brock Anderson and Lee Johnson. My favorite, the match I was most looking forward to here tonight. I want to put over Lee Johnson during this, man. And there was some stuff that he did, some aerial stuff that, wasn't necessarily perfectly crisp. All right, fine. But you know what? Damn, he had some moments in this match where anytime Lee Johnson was in this match with any of the FTR members, that's when this match was entertaining and that's when it was good. He essentially went in there, some of the moments that I really liked, obviously aside from really moving very fast. He had a really nice hurricanrana, like literally right off the bat here. He had a really nice frog splash. God, he did a twist in the air. All of that good stuff. That was phenomenal there as well. And he ends up getting okay, sorry, I'm backing up here, everybody. I want to back up a little bit because I need to also talk about Brock Anderson. So I haven't been the biggest fan of Brock Anderson, and I'm not going to lie to the people. I'm not a big fan of Brock Anderson. He hasn't won me over, and I tried. I really did try here. But anytime he was in this match, I just thought, oh my God, I was dying a slow death. I'm not the biggest Brock Anderson fan as of right now, everybody. I'm just not feeling it. I really think that he just needs more of something, more something, more everything actually. I don't really feel like the best part of this whole thing was when he got into it with Tully Blanchard. When they got into it, and he literally ends up knocking him out. Tully Blanchard ends up knocking him out with a left hand. That was literally the highlight of this. That was it. I'm sorry to the Brock Anderson fans. And let me go ahead and get a comment here. Back in the ring for the finish, we got Lee Johnson, who essentially gets caught with FTR in the corner. They end up hitting him with a spike pile driver, and they get the win. So that's pretty much the finish there. Sorry, everybody. I was kind of jumping around there because I didn't really know where I wanted to go at with this, because there's a lot of different things that I kind of wanted to cover there. But that's pretty much it. I do not want to see Lee Johnson continuing. I want to see Lee Johnson do his own thing. Let him break away. Let him do his own thing, man. I don't want to see no more of this. Let him do his own thing. Please. Let's get some comments here. This one's from Mad Dog Stuff. It says, Lee Johnson impressed me, though. Same. Like I said, anytime he was in the ring, it was entertaining. He did something. I liked it. God, I'm going to go through a couple more comments here and get some comments. This one's from Danny Boy, who says, I still don't know what Brock Anderson is doing. Nothing. And I feel so bad. I'm sure he's really, this is just his character, by the way. I'm not talking about like the real life Brock Anderson. This is what we're seeing on TV, right? The clotheslines, they were some of the most boring clotheslines I've ever seen in my life. I've hit harder clotheslines. My pillows have hit harder clotheslines. Oh, all right. Danny Boy says, yup, Lee is a different topic. He's great, needs more of that push. Look at Private Party now. I think that Lee Johnson could definitely, if he were to get something along the lines of like how they're doing, what they're doing with Dante Martin, like that could be something that they could do similarly with Lee Johnson, and I think that it could work. So there you go. This is a comment from Andrew Cook, who says, Brock and Lee Johnson were wrestling this match well in a classic tag style. Then Brock disappeared and FTR won. Did Brock have to go pick up a person? Oh, man, I feel so bad. I don't want to be mean to the guy. I really don't. I really don't. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan. Chair relaxes. Denise is on the hate train. Look, but I'll be real with you guys. And if you've been watching my shows for a long time now, if I'm not a fan of somebody, down the line, I could become a fan. Perfect example. Let's head on over to NXT. Duke Hudson. Poor guy. Like every single week, I was like, I can't stand this guy. All of a sudden, he gets a new attitude and he shaves, his head shaven. He comes in and I'm like, you know what? I'm starting to feel Duke Hudson here. Boa. I didn't even like watching the segments. I would mute them. And now, you know what? I tolerate Boa. So what I'm saying here is there's a chance, all right? You got to give me something here, man. I'm not just going to like anybody. You got to give me something to work with, all right? Who else? I'm trying to think who else. Can't think of anybody right now, but there's plenty of other people. All right, we're moving on. Let's get into, oh God. Oh, all right, let's move on. Where am I? All right, Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa are officially going to be having their match next week on Rampage. And if you guys recall, on this Wednesday's Dynamite, we had the Britt Baker promo that I liked that promo, but apparently a lot of people really weren't necessarily crazy about it. And as I was watching this Thunder Rosa Mercedes Martinez feud, the package, that they were playing on this, I started thinking to myself, like, why didn't they give like Mercedes Martinez or Thunder Rosa, an opportunity on Dynamite to do like an in-ring promo that could have actually furthered their story? I kind of feel like that would have been something to maybe, add to the show. Something that I was just thinking about as I was watching this, because they're finally going to have their match, right? But we haven't really gotten to see much of them. We saw Mercedes Martinez cost Thunder Rosa her TBS tournament match with Jade Cargill, so that ended up screwing her out of that, right? And then from there, we went into We saw Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa brawl at one point. I don't even remember what, but that was at either Dynamite or Rampage. I don't even remember what show. And then after that, the next like 2 weeks, all we've been seeing is these like video packages where they're talking smack to each other, which have been pretty enjoyable, right? But I would have liked it if they got more like in-ring time to, you know, do something, whether you're seeing Mercedes Martinez wrestle in a match like on Dynamite or Rampage, like ahead of this match with Thunder Rosa or vice versa, get some, you know, some mic time. I don't know, man, but it kind of feels like there's more there for Mercedes Martinez and Thunder Rosa that I don't necessarily want it to be like a couple of vignettes and then, hey, we jump into this match at Rampage and then it's all done and over. I think that they could do a little bit more there with that story. So that's just one of the criticisms that I feel that I have of this one. But either way, I am looking forward to Mercedes Martinez Thunder Rosa. That's definitely going to be a good match. Two really good workers that are going to pretty much give it all they've got there because they're going to want to, you know, make a name for themselves on AEW. And so you're going to want to see this match. I'm looking forward to it. Mercedes Martinez is super hard hitting. Thunder Rosa goes in there and she literally gives her heart and soul to everything. So I do think that this is going to be a phenomenal match when it happens on next week's Rampage. But before we get into, let's get into, I'm trying to see if we got any more comments here. And let's see. I'm going to go ahead and get into the Jade Cargill Julia Hart match. Let's get into this. So we got the TBS Championship match, Jade Cargill versus Julia Hart. And Julia Hart, I mean, I don't think anybody actually thought that Julia Hart was going to win this match, but I'm glad that she was able to get this match on Rampage. At the end of the day, like I don't think we really rarely have gotten to see her in action on Dynamite or Rampage. Like I do not recall very often getting to see her either on Dynamite or Rampage actually wrestle. Like she's usually obviously on the side, you know, for the Varsity Blondes, etc. She got spit in the face by Malachi Black. We're all waiting for Julia Hart to turn into this goth Julia at some point. So anyways, so we get this match and Jade Cargill essentially just like kills her during this, but she does get a couple of moments. She hits a really nice but very slow Hurricanrana, but she hits it. She nails it. Good stuff for her. But Jade Cargill's just going in there and she's like mocking her by not even taking her seriously. She's doing, you know, push-ups. She's doing push-ups. She's doing sit-ups. And poor Julia Hart is just there on the ground trying to catch a breath. But then again, Jade Cargill has been on an absolute roll. She ends up getting the win after she hits Julia with a pump kick, and then she hits her with the Jaded. And after that, Jade Cargill continues her streak. She is now 26-0. This match was very, 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 brief. I think that in a way, though, it was the way that it should have been because, you know, Jade Cargill, as we've mentioned, she's still, you know, working her way up there. She's gotten better and better. So when she's in there with Julia Hart, there's only so much that she can do because obviously Julia Hart is not, you know, not at that level yet to help Jade Cargill get to do a better match, right? She's not at that level yet. So we're continuing this 26-0, Jade Cargill. So here's my question to everybody here in the chat. Who the hell is going to finally end Jade Cargill's streak? I'm thinking here, how long do we think this streak is going to go? And where do we go from there? Because I feel like I'm starting to wonder if this streak is going to go until we see Jade Cargill either eventually lose the title or maybe even going for the AEW Women's Championship because she's just going on fire and she's just getting all of these wins. Eventually, she should be going for the AEW Women's Championship, right? Does that mean she still has does that mean she's going to be a double champion? I don't know. So I'm thinking like, who is going to be the person to end the streak for Jade Cargill? And if so, when is this going to, you know, end? It doesn't feel like it right now. They've put so much effort, so much eggs into her basket. So obviously this is going to go a lot longer, but it is interesting. Something to think about. Let's see what we got here. Mad Dog Stuffs predicts that she's going to go 50-0. Oh, that would be that'll take some time, guys, because she's barely at 26, so that'll take a while. Doppelganger 399 says Britt Baker, maybe Serena Deeb. Danny Boy throws in a name, Amber Moon. I mean, Who knows? Twitch Face 4 says Brandy. Cody says Thunder Rosa. I think Thunder Rosa has already lost. She already lost to her during the tournament, right? But let's see what we got here. Going through a couple more comments, but that's pretty much it. I don't think that is. I mean, Serena Deeb. Serena Deeb is a good shout, but I don't think that they're going to build up Jade Cargill and have her get this like record. You know, they're not going to make her undefeated for so long just to have her lose to Serena Deeb. You know? It's kind of like along the same lines of that Roman Reigns situation. Whoever eventually beats Jade Cargill, it's got to be somebody that is going to benefit from it. You know, maybe a newcomer. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Alrighty, let's go ahead and continue on from here. We got the main event. The main event was Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy versus Private Party. Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy for the AEW Tag Team Championships. This was a very fun match. I really enjoyed this match. A shout out to the little baby that was dressed like a dinosaur at the top of this. Really, really cute. Cute stuff, man. Cute stuff in the audience. This match started off really, really hot right off the bat. We got like Hurricanranas throwing around. We see Private Party do simultaneous leg drops from the top rope, but they end up kind of backfiring it because they don't get anybody during that. So that was really cool. After this, there's a really funny moment where Luchasaurus is trying to get Jungle Boy in the ring. He's trying to get the tag in, right? And Private Party is literally hanging on the legs of Luchasaurus just so he doesn't get the tag on Jungle Boy. I thought that was really funny. But the second that Jungle Boy got the tag, I mean, this match went from here to like a whole other level. Jungle Boy went in there and like immediately did like, I think like 3 dives back to back. I didn't count, but it was quite a few. And from here, we end up seeing like a really nice shooting star press from Mark Quinn. Really good stuff. Jungle Boy ends up hitting a Canadian Destroyer. And they end up getting the win, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. But this was a really fun match with lots of spots. Good stuff. After this, the Gun Club ends up immediately afterwards attacking Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. And they end up using the titles to like hit them both in the face, both to Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. So we're continuing on. Obviously, we've been seeing the Gun Club. This is eventually going to happen. So it's going to happen pretty soon. I don't think they've announced anything yet, but after this attack, I'm assuming it's happening within the next few weeks or so. But let's go ahead and get some final thoughts here on the main event. Any final thoughts on AEW Rampage? You guys are more than welcome to send these in. This one is from Danny, who says, finally, we see Isaiah Cassidy getting more confident on the mic and in the ring. That Gin and Juice move got a huge pop from the Cleveland crowd. And let's go ahead and get some more comments. This one's from in regards to the Jade Cargill stuff from the Mad Dog, who says, I always think it should be Red Velvet finally defeating her greatest rival. Red Velvet would be somebody to benefit a whole lot from defeating Jade Cargill, but she still has got a way to go to get to that point where people want to see. Like, it's got to get to the point where people want to actually see Red Velvet defeat Jade Cargill. And while there may be a couple of people that may want that, I don't think it's something that like the masses essentially want just yet, at least. And all right, this one is, I think let's go ahead and get this super chat from Cameron Mumford. Thank you so much to Cameron, who says, here's to an exciting weekend. Be safe and have fun, Denise. Thank you so much, Cameron, for the love and for sending in this super chat. I really appreciate it. Alrighty, everybody. So come back next week. We will be talking about NXT on Tuesdays, Wednesday, AEW Dynamite. I'll be doing the Dynamite card. We got CM Punk versus MJF announced. Whether or not that's actually really going to happen, we will see. And then we got the House of Black, Malachi Black and Brody King taking on Death Triangle, Pac and Penta El Cero Miedo. So we got some good stuff so far announced for AEW Dynamite next week. And then, of course, we have that Mercedes Martinez Thunder Rosa match announced for AEW Rampage. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up. Please, guys, do not forget, if you haven't already, head on over to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Denise Salcedo. I will be there live on Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time to do a Royal Rumble prediction show. So if you do want to check that out, make sure to head on over there. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a busy next 48 hours. So please make sure that you guys go subscribe there and also head on over to Twitter and or on Instagram @_Denise Salcedo. But until next time, I'll see you guys on Tuesday for NXT 2.0. Bye, everybody.